Tony Adewumi is one of the most talented chess players right now, defeating almost anyone who comes in his way at only 8 years old. But regardless of his extreme talent at destroying his opponents, Tony was about to face his strongest opponent yet. This is Hikaru, 5-time US World Champion and Twitch streamer, and though Tony has faced other Twitch streamers, this one is much more dangerous, being one of the best chess players in the world. Tony starts by moving his pawn at e4, a move has played countless times and is very familiar with. Hikaru responds with his pull into c5, going for the Sicilian defense, and other playing a couple developing moves. The game turns into a pretty standard position with Tony's knights on c3 and d4 and Hikaru's knights on c6 and f6, with his bishop on g7, eyeing the diagonal Tony thinks for some time, before playing bishop c4, getting ready to cancel his kingside. Hikaru moves his bishop back, which Hikaru attacks with knight a5, where Hikaru and Tony are completely equal, with Tony being slightly better. This would not last long though. Tony lifts his queen one square, preparing to trade off Hikaru's bishop after attacking it on h6. Hikaru here does and decide to look for an attack of his own, playing his pawn to b5. Castle here instead goes for pawn to f3, defending his e4 pawn but making his king a little less safe. Thankfully for Tony, Hikaru here proceeds to play a huge mistake, e5, which allows Tony to win a pawn. After trading the bishops and knights, Tony decides to take the pawn on b5, and after a bishop and knight trade on b3, Hikaru makes another mistake. Knight e4, well, this move doesn't look bad, as after checking it wins back material. The position will end up with a better position for Tony after pawn to g3, forcing a trade and winning a pawn. But unfortunately, Tony doesn't find this and instead places to knight f2, allowing Hikaru to attack Tony's queen, forcing it to move. Florian looks a little unconfident here. Tony moves his queen to d5, a move that does practically nothing. This move, while it may not look like much, pretty much dooms Tony's position, as Hikaru attacks one of Tony's pawns, and his rook, Tony defends this in the worst way possible. Tony had just blundered his rook, and with a look of embarrassment briefly considers resigning before confidently continuing by taking Hikaru's pawn on d6. Hikaru continues the game by playing rook c2, threatening a checkmate in 2 on f2. Which Tony defends with knight e4. Tony is just desperately trying to hold on, hoping to beat Hikaru on the clock. But unfortunately, Hikaru is too fast and too strong. After following up with attacking Tony's queen, Tony decides to give his queen up with a trade. Thank you. After trading some final pieces, Hikaru starts suffocating Tony in chess, of course, and after chasing down Tony's knight, Hikaru ends the game with a brutal rook checkmate, resulting in a win for the professional streamer. But while Tony did lose this match miserably, he would after a few years go on to defeat Hikaru not once but twice, ending his win with a brutal queen e8 check, which after Hikaru moves his king, Tony would play rook f7, winning Hikaru's queen. And while Hikaru is still clearly the much stronger one and he's the stronger player, Tony is still improving, beating everyone with a dream to reach world championship.